So, for all of our lovely friends, this is what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to be talking about what you guys need to know about the Dr. Disrespect information. I've seen a lot of people cover this news, and that is great. A lot of people have been covering it, from everyone from Asmongold to Charlazard to obviously sites like Dexerto and VG News and all those, and everything in between. Mogul Mail, he covered some good information about it. A lot of people covered some really good information about this. However, I think there's a lot of missing context. And the missing context that I want to cover is, Jake Sucky as well. Yeah, exactly. The missing context that I really do want to cover is what exactly is being said and why. Namely, why people can't give real information. Now, this is a problem that we've been having in a lot of industries in general, but the games industry particularly, with something called an NDA. An NDA is a non-disparagement agreement. And we're bringing this up now because this is what the context that a lot of people are missing right now. And I think everyone needs to know, because right now there's so many questions of, why is Twitch responding this way? Why won't they give real information? Why is the random person, what's that? His name is what, Cody? All right, this is the tweet that started it all. Okay, so we're starting from the beginning, and what I want you guys to know is what an NDA is. So an NDA is a non-disclosure agreement. A non-disclosure agreement is something that both parties enter to where they basically cannot make disparaging comments of really a lot of different kinds. And some NDAs are very broad, some of them are very specific. And when it comes to things like Twitch streaming, with YouTubing, with things like this, with sites like YouTube and Twitch and so on, these are very broad NDAs. This is the thing you guys need to know, and I will cover this context as and how we get to it. So do not worry. So this is the tweet that started it all. Dr. Disrespect was banned, 4 years ago. And everyone's been wondering, oh my god, why was the doc banned? Why was the doc banned? And it could have been any of a billion different reasons. Now, personally, I never found doc's content, up my alley in any way, shape, or form. I don't watch a lot of big streamers. Doc was definitely not one of them that I enjoyed anyways. I'm not a big fan of the ragey, FPS streamer, that entire vibe. Never been my thing. So I never really watched him too much. And by too much, I mean basically at all. So I don't really have a horse in this race. I just want you guys to know that. So I don't have a bias towards him. I don't really have a bias against him. Before this incident. So I just don't really know. But what I do cover is the current events, and I do cover, business sides of these types of conversations, business side of Twitch, business side of gaming, and this is where my wheelhouse is, which is why I'm discussing this, because I know how NDAs work. I've written NDAs, I've covered NDAs, I've discussed NDAs, I've signed NDAs. And so this is where I can give you some pretty good and in-depth context of. So this is the tweet that started it all. Cody Connors is a guy that worked at Twitch several years ago. And this was around the time that Dr. Disrespect got banned. So Cody Connors, years later now, he basically states, and everyone knows the context. As soon as he started talking, everyone knew who he was talking about. Because this is the question that has been on everyone's mind for years and years and years. Why did Dr. Disrespect get banned? Now, this is a big issue with Twitch. They never released the info of why he got banned. They just, all of a sudden, Dr. Disrespect was, I think at the time, the largest streamer on Twitch. Was he the largest? Or he was one of, for sure. But I think he might have been the largest streamer. And then one day, without warning, done. Banned. And this was during the Mixer days. So a lot of people were thinking at the time, and I was around during the Mixer days. I started streaming in 2019. And so everyone thought that he got banned because he breached his contract and was talking to Mixer. And then there was also rumblings of something far more serious and sinister behind it. But you know, most people assumed it was a contract dispute kind of thing, and those types of things happen all the time. So that wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Anything, you know, of this more serious context was a much bigger deal. So this statement by Cody Connors says he got banned because he got caught sexting a minor in the existing Twitch Whispers product. He was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. The powers that be could read in plain text. Case closed, gang. No one made the wrong decision. Fuck him and his boys. This is a huge bombshell. Because, you know, something being a contract dispute, it's like, whatever. This kind of thing happens all the time. You know, people get upset about these things, and, you know, people are like big Twitch Andies will get pissed off if someone's trying to go to Mixer or YouTube or whatever, and the other way around as well. And so that wouldn't have been a big issue. But this is a obviously gigantic issue. This is like, you know, could be criminal in nature. This could be, you know, sexual assault in nature, possibly. It could be worse. It's drastically worse. But the thing I want you guys to pay attention to, because we'll be talking about this in the future in this video, is right here, the Twitch Whispers product. This is big. The other thing that you need to pay attention to here is the powers that be, which are the higher up to Twitch, could read in plain text. Pay attention to this. What does this mean, guys? What does this mean? And we're going to have to do a little bit of thought exercises. We're going to have to guess. We're going to have to figure out what these statements mean. Because as you can see right here, and what we'll see going forward for all the statements from Doc, from you know, people at Twitch, from everyone in between, there is very little real information. And this is the thing to keep in mind. So I want you all to know that we're all playing guessing games. So it's going to be hard to start fights over guessing games, and I would recommend you don't start fights with other people on the internet over guessing games. We don't know the detail. We can only guess at the context. And this is the problem with NDAs. The reason that we can't have any of these statements is because all of the people talking, all of the people discussing this, as in the people that actually know what happened, are under NDA. Now, Cody Connors is no longer under NDA because he no longer works at Twitch. He hasn't worked at Twitch for a couple of years now, and his NDA has faded. And his umbrella of being under the NDA was when he was at Twitch. So what that means is, when DrDisrespect made his contract with Twitch, because they used to have individual partner contracts, they would have their own contracts with their own NDAs between themselves, between the large streamers, and between Twitch. Wait, what happened? There we go. So as a result, Twitch cannot disparage DrDisrespect. DrDisrespect cannot disparage Twitch. And if they do, that is a breach of contract. This is important to keep in mind going forward. All right, so going forward to DrDisrespect's own discussions here. Listen, I'm obviously tied to legal obligations from the settlement with Twitch, but I just need to say what I can say since this is the fucking internet. I didn't do anything wrong. All this has been probed and settled, nothing illegal. No wrongdoing was found, and I was paid. Elden Ring Monday. So the things to pay attention here is that legal obligations from the settlement. So when he basically lost his contract with Twitch, they had to essentially breach contract and dump him. And there is always, whenever you're signing a contract with anyone, whenever you're signing a contract, especially in this entertainment style deal, when it's like a Twitch stream or a YouTube or whatever, when it's one of these partnership agreements, these contracts always have a behavioral clause. So you can be dropped for bad behavior. You can be dropped if you just wake up one day and you decide to become an asshole and you start to use slurs all over the internet. They can drop you without, screwing themselves over legally. That's an example. A behavioral contract also would include things like, in this case, where the implication is, the very strong implication is that he was sexting a minor. So all these are several of the reasons that he could have been dropped, and also, of course, like I was saying, that a lot of people thought the breach of contract when people thought he was talking with Mixer to possibly move over there, which was the big competitor to Twitch at the time 3 years ago. That would have been another way to breach the contract. So the wording that people are focusing on is no wrongdoing was found. And this is important to know. This is important to know. Where is Mixer now? Mixer is completely dead. Yeah, Mixer is long dead, gone, and pretty much almost forgotten, actually. Like, one of the few people who knows about Mixer is me, because I've been streaming for 5 years now. Little super shady shit going on with the minor. Yeah, well, Shawayne, here's the thing that we'll be talking about. Exactly. So Shawayne brings up a point that we'll be discussing later on. And yeah, we'll absolutely discuss this. And the reason we'll be discussing this is right here. No wrongdoing was found. Now, the wording is very awkward. And everyone's been saying this. The thing is that you have to remember that so there's the NDA of Twitch and DrDisrespect, and the NDA that they have to sign when they leave as parties. When essentially DrDisrespect, for whatever reason, has to leave Twitch, right? That NDA covers a whole slew of things, and we don't know how broad or specific the NDA is. And I will go into context of what I think the NDA was written as, and why they have to jump in circles to discuss these things. Yeah, surprise you are, yeah, exactly. The other thing to know is that, the settlement. The settlement will have its own NDA. In this settlement will be an NDA, a non-disparagement agreement between both parties at the time that specifically stops either side from talking about the situation. This is the big issue. This is why there's so many questions about this. This is awkward, and I think that whether you like or hate Doc, whether you think he did it or whether you think he did not, you have to understand one thing. The no wrongdoing was found is very, very awkward, but this is the only legal thing he could say here. Via the NDA, this is the only legal thing he could say here. This is not a good look for him by any means whatsoever. None of this is. But the real issue is that he can't say anything more. Even if I completely disagree with him and I think that he could have done this horrible, horrible act, this is legally the only thing he could say. This is how NDAs work. NDAs stop you from... Because if he says Twitch is wrong, I didn't sext a minor, if he just straight up said that, he would be disparaging and breaking the settlement with Twitch. That's the big issue. So what I think happened was... Okay, no, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. The other thing to know is... okay, this is information that we need. There was a post about the actual contract. And I kind of want to find that actual contract. Not the actual contract itself, but the post about it. Let's see. Yeah, then there's the... okay, here's some added context. So this Cody Connors guy, he has a band, and he's used this as, like, a stupid joke as well. Like, telling why, DrDisrespect was going to be banned. He's been using this for a couple of years to try to, like, promote his band. And this is a really bad look for Cody Connors. This puts into question, is what Cody Connors is saying even accurate? Is it real? Is he just saying it? And so on and so forth. This is muddying the waters further. A lot of the problems with these things is that when you are discussing something so serious, waters get muddied not only by things like NDAs and stuff, but also because people are fucking dumb. Cody Connors, in doing this, trying to say, hey, Slasher is coming to this. because Slasher's someone else who was talking about Dr. Disrespect and everything. He was a big, like, I guess, like, media type of deal back in the day, and even still to this day, right? Hold on. This is a relevant question. Why wouldn't Doc just sue Cody if he is wrong? Instead, he ran away. See, the thing is that Doc cannot sue Cody if Cody hasn't broken a legal contract. Cody was under NDA when he worked at Twitch. I did start to say this, but I'll say it more clearly. The NDA is signed by Twitch and by Dr. Disrespect. When Cody leaves Twitch, he is no longer under that NDA, which is why whistleblowers, and there's usually like a timeout period. Like, you can't say anything that breaches clauses or whatever for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years, or whatever. We don't know what the NDA says. Every NDA is different. The other thing is legalese is always different. And so what Cody said, can he sue for defamation? Yes, but defamation is not an easy thing to sue for. And he'll need proof. The other thing to keep in mind is and this is a question to keep in mind for this entire conversation. There's a lot of things to keep in mind. And I do apologize. There's like a web of facts, guys. It's like a web of, logical jumps and everything like that. But that just shows how muddy these waters are. And that just shows how bad NDAs are. And this also shows how bias and everything can just ruin people's lives and so on. So in this instance, the legal defense against defamation is extremely hard to reach. And what is the how do I word this? What is legally defensible is not always morally right. That is a thing to keep in mind here. Defamation is super hard to prove. Exactly. We saw this with I think the most recent major one was Johnny Depp. The Johnny Depp case was a defamation case. And like that was like a shit show for months. It was an absolute shit show. I watched like the entire thing. It was crazy. And it was crazy on both sides. Like it was a crazy situation. And that was a very, very famous case, and this would also be a very, very famous case if this happened. But the real problem is that now people are asking for proof, and this is not proof that Cody has. He can't take those files and show these files. And the thing to keep in mind is, why can't he? Why was a settlement made with Dr. Disrespect and Twitch? So let's do a logical jump here. Let's say what Cody Connors said is completely correct. That Dr. Disrespect got caught sexting a minor. This is entirely possible. We've seen large streamers get away with far fucking worse. Now, I don't know, Doc. I'm not going to put that moniker on him. We're just discussing the legal ramifications going forward. Sexting a minor is something that has to be proven. The way that they would find out is by Twitch would have to find this out. The powers that be could read this in plain text. What does that mean? That means they were reading whispers. Whispers are considered private messages. Private messages are under its own privacy clauses. So basically what Twitch is admitting to is that they breached the privacy of both Dr. Disrespect and the girl in question. This is a very, very, very bad thing that muddies everything going forward. So whether he did or didn't do this, the whispers and the private messages, that entire issue of privacy was broken by Twitch, which is why they had to do the settlement with Dr. Disrespect going forward. This is the case against Twitch that Dr. Disrespect won. Now, you might be asking, if he got caught sexting a minor, why didn't Dr. Disrespect get arrested? Why didn't the authorities get involved? First of all, we do not know if the authorities did or didn't get involved. The chances that they got involved are extremely high. However, you have to remember the legal, the ability to get like legal issues from something like this is a different level than the court of public opinion or the court of, a company saying you're doing something that we cannot approve of, we have to let you go. These are different thresholds. The public opinion can say, hey, we don't even need to see proof. You seem like a scumbag. Fuck you. We're all going to hate you. And then the pile-on starts. That is one level of threshold. Another level of threshold is Twitch reading these whispers and saying like, wow, this is fucked. We got to let you go. Like, this is breaching our behavioral contract. You're out. And then Dr. Disrespect will respond with, hey, you're reading my whispers. This is private information. I'm suing you because you read something that you're not supposed to read. Twitch is in the wrong for reading the whispers. This is something that they're not really allowed to do. And then if it's not able to lead to a criminal prosecution, they don't have the umbrella of, hey, it's for a criminal prosecution, we're okay to do this. They would be okay if it led to a criminal prosecution. They would not be breaching any of their contracts if they read the private whispers in that case. But the threshold to convict someone for sexting a minor is extremely high. It is going to be a shit show in the courts, and it never happened. Now, why did it not happen? If this is true, if all of this is true, chances are very high that the girl was silenced via settlement. And the girl could have chosen to be silenced via settlement. Because what girl would want to ruin their future life with an entire insane asylum of Dr. Disrespect's cronies and friends and, entire, like millions strong audience and go through this entire debacle as a victim? People that aren't even against a famous person, that are against like just a normal guy or a normal person. This happens to guys when they're sexually assaulted by women. This happens on both sexes, guys. If you are a victim of a sexual crime, a lot of times that victim goes through a settlement process because they just don't want to deal with the shit that comes from going into court and dealing with all of that in a legal basis. That is the big issue, okay? So if she is under settlement and she's out of the situation, she has to deal with the emotional baggage on her end or her family as well. The parents might have okayed the settlement and so on and so forth. Then that entire section of this problem is on the side now. That's the thing. And it can no longer be brought up in a criminal prosecution or anything like that. That would change the game. That's what I think happened here. I think that is exactly what happened here. And the NDA that is written by the victim in this case and Dr. Disrespect precludes Dr. Disrespect from saying, I didn't sext a minor. It could be as specific as that. And it can also preclude anyone else involved in the case from saying that he did. And it's just this like middle ground of, like, all he can say at this point is no wrongdoing was found. That is it. I think this is what has happened, guys. I think this is what has happened. I think he did get caught saying something that wasn't good, that could be seen as exactly what people are saying, that he was trying to meet up with a girl at TwitchCon and so on and so forth. And it's not legally able to get him convicted of a sex crime or anything like that. Or the girl just didn't want to go through that entire process, so she took a settlement. Twitch has no legal ground to stand on, so now they have to settle with Dr. Disrespect and say, yeah, we looked at your whispers, you're no longer on this site, but, we have to deal with this ourselves now. They have to, have their own contract now, their own NDA. And so it's a double NDA for basically both parties involved. And Dr. Disrespect gets to create an entire new platform on a different site. Now, why I think this is the case is going forward today, So Dr. Disrespect co-founded a video game company. The video game company is called the Midnight Society. Midnight Society is making an FPS game. The FPS game looks like utter dog shit. That is the context that I know about Midnight Society. It's an extraction game, and it looks like absolute trash. But that's besides the point. That's besides the point. Midnight Society stated, this is like 3-4 hours ago? It was just a few hours ago. On Friday evening, we became aware of an allegation made against our co-founder, Guy Beam, aka Dr. Disrespect. That is Dr. Disrespect. That's his real name. We assumed his innocence. This is the verbiage that you guys need to pay attention to. And began speaking with parties involved. This means that they spoke to Dr. Disrespect and they spoke with Twitch. That is what it means. This could also mean that they spoke with the girl, but I think that is extremely unlikely. And she wouldn't really be able to say anything anyways if she had a settlement, which seems incredibly likely. Granted, these are logical leaps, but we have to make logical leaps. There's no other way to handle this conversation. I'm sorry. We assumed his innocence and began speaking with the parties involved. And in order to maintain our principles and standards as a studio and individuals, we needed to act. For this reason, we're terminating our relationship with Guy Beam, Dr. Disrespect, immediately. While these facts are difficult to hear, and even more difficult to accept, it is our duty to act with dignity on behalf of all individuals involved, especially the 55 developers and families we've employed along with our community of players. So this is the context, guys. The company that Dr. Disrespect founded, he's the co-founder of, and he is their basically single marketing tool for their dog water game. They're dumping that guy. The only reason for them to do so is because as a company that is founded by and employs Dr. Disrespect, they get more information than we as the public do from Twitch. NDAs have to specifically cover your employer and how an employer will be able to ask questions about you in order for Midnight Society to not get that information. The fact that they definitely contacted Twitch and they definitely got some information means that they were able to get far more information than we can as the public because of how the NDAs work. And their level of information made them get rid of their single most marketing tool, meaning that their game will basically be a failure. Right now, this move that they made, while morally right, I think, if what I mean, they did it on their moral jurisdiction, it basically ruined their entire financial future for their game. I think they made the right decision because I think always do the morally right thing. However, it's not for me to say. This is something that they chose to do, and they weighed the pros and cons. And they have a much greater level of evidence than we could possibly have as the public. Because NDAs, like I said, for employers, they're able to get far more information than we can. Evidence has to be damning if they fired him of all people. Exactly the point I'm making. For Midnight Society to fire Dr. Disrespect and get rid of him, it had to be at a certain level. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. There is no way. There's no way. And I made this point on a tweet as well. It is always worth remembering that there is a difference between proof that will get you convicted in a court of law and proof that will make a company cut ties with you. And this is the thing to know going forward. But yeah, I think that kind of covers it. Basically, what I think happened was, and what we'll pull up what Shawayne said, because I think what Shawayne said kind of gives a good encapsulation of it. All signs point to Dr. Disrespect trying to meet up with a minor, but nothing in the messages were technically criminal. Exactly. Or even if they were, there was a settlement made between the victim and Dr. Disrespect, which absolutely can, has, often will, and forever will happen. Because being a victim, even in today's society, is an incredibly, incredibly difficult thing to do. And it takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of foresight. It takes a lot of the willingness to get hammered and have your future life essentially ruined. Even if it's a nobody that, is, God forbid, sexually assaulted you. Even worse when it's someone this famous with this rowdy and this loud of a backing, an audience. Thus they banned him, as in Twitch banned him, correct? And then NDA was created between Twitch and DrDisrespect at the end of the entire situation. His company got involved, and both him and Twitch got in a room so everything could be discussed. Yes, exactly. And now, after the fact, the Midnight Society got a level of information from Twitch about this entire situation so they could make their own decision as a company that employs DrDisrespect. And their actions have shown us that this is really fucking serious for DrDisrespect. Yeah, exactly, Tyler. So, any questions on this issue, guys? Any questions on this issue? I think we kind of covered the basic things. The real important thing to remember is, guys, this is the problem with NDAs. NDAs often protect people in power. They're made to protect companies. They're made to protect people in power. And NDAs usually mean that in this type of situation with a victim, the victim gets thrown under the bus. This is why we'll never... I want you guys to keep in mind, in the coming days, unless someone breaks an NDA, which is going to be very hard to do, if someone does not break NDA, which would have its own legal ramifications and own issues for the victim, we will never find the answer to this question. We'll never have the real answer. If we have a future where the whispers are released, and they're released with the name even blacked out completely, that is still a complete breach of privacy for the victim who's gone through a horrible thing and has created a settlement that, they're at least a modicum of comfort with. They had no choice, maybe. They could have been strong-armed to do it, whatever, or not. We don't know. But it would be breaking their privacy as a victim. That is one reason that even if something gets leaked, it could be potentially bad for the victim. That is really, really important to remember. And that makes such a leak less likely. Am I saying it won't happen? No, I'm not saying that. There is a possibility something could get leaked and we could have more information going forward. But in the meantime, we can only make these logical leaps going forward and trying to figure this out and so on. NDAs are meant to be used to protect company secrets, or for media companies to not have leaks. NDAs are made for every reason, Kawhi. Like, every time I do a project, and I work in business, I work in engineering, construction management, so that's how I know NDAs. I've worked with NDAs on my business end, doing consulting and construction management, engineering and architecture and things like that. For every single project I've ever done, I've had to sign an NDA. For every single discussion of a project I've ever done, I have to sign an NDA. Every single one of them. And that means, like, even for the smallest thing. You didn't go over the fact doctor for... Oh, yeah. Wafers. Dude, big call. Yeah, absolutely. Now we have also DrDisrespect's, after all of this today and after the Midnight Society's message and everything like that, we have an entire situation with Disrespect's message at the end. That he's taking a break from streaming. He's going to, he's trying to make himself sound cool by driving off in the sunset or some shit. Basically what happened was, he had an Elden Ring stream today. And I saw the clip. I don't want to, like, actually show the clip because you can't really show, banned streamers from Twitch on your Twitch channel. You can discuss it like I am, but you can't actually show the video. So we're not gonna, go open that can of worms. But basically, while he was playing Elden Ring, he got a message at some point on his phone, and his mood completely changed. And then he just started talking about, like, retiring from streaming. And that is him kind of running away from the situation. Whether that means that he's just frustrated with the entire situation and he's completely innocent, which is what his, defenders are trying to say, it's still him running away. Which, I mean, that could be possible. There is a small chance that is a possibility. I will say there is a small chance that he is completely innocent of everything. However, I think that is a very small chance. Or it's that he knows that his company that he founded, that he is the face of and everything, the Midnight Society, found out the real information about him that he tried to steal away behind NDA and didn't think of the employer clause, because every NDA has an employer clause. Then he had kind of no recourse. And there was a really important question of, why can't Doc sue Cody? If he sues Cody for defamation, it nullifies his side of the NDA that he has with Twitch. And if he does that, there can and would be a full investigation of what actually happened. And that is the reason, then the reason behind the ban would be made public. He probably doesn't want that. Even if he's not criminally liable, he still doesn't want any of that on the table at all in any way, shape, or form. Even if he's not criminally liable. Because you have to also remember, there's different shades and different gradations to the level of sexual creepiness an older man or an older person can have with a minor. Obviously, the worst is the worst, and we don't have to talk about that. There is also, meeting up with someone without the worst happening. And then there's messages. The messages are like the smaller rung. They're still really fucking bad, really fucking creepy, and will all, if that becomes public, he would be destroyed in the public eye, and deservedly so. However, that's not really criminally liable. The level of criminal liability is a much higher gradation. And that is something everyone needs to remember when it comes to the criminality of this case. I gotta turn this fucking GIF off. Jesus Christ. But yeah. Did you read all the patch notes? Not yet. But yeah. Lawsuits are very expensive and take a long time. Yes, exactly. And also, as we've seen many times, even in the Harvey Weinstein case and everything like that, these lawsuits are incredibly harmful for the victims. Absolutely, beyond a shadow of the doubt. And if the victim has made a settlement with DrDisrespect, she doesn't want to be in the public eye. And that is her choice. And that should also, if we as bystanders care about the victim, we really don't want to know who the victim is. Because if we know who the victim is, that means anyone who is a DrDisrespect, supporter will also know who the victim is. And the level of bullying, the level of internet stalking, the level of real life consequences that could happen to this girl is unconscionable. So I hope, frankly, that us as the public, we never find out. I sincerely hope that. I sincerely hope that. Because I don't want to see a girl's life ruined on fucking Twitter and Twitch. Like, that would be beyond disgusting. That would be beyond disgusting. Worshippers, yeah. I mean, yeah, here's what it is. You can see. You can see, the level of people that support him. So they do get very, very aggressive. They do get very, very aggressive. And I think people need to realize, even if people are very upset with him and are very harsh with him, it's not a yes or no question he can answer. Legally, this is not. And that's why I'm making this video. I think this is an important thing for everyone to know. Whether you think he did it, whether you think he didn't, whether you support him, whether you don't, you have to understand that none of these sides can really talk about this issue because of the layers and multiples of NDAs that are in the situation. I've described 2 NDAs, but there could even be more NDAs than that. There's actually 3 NDAs. There's the NDA that DrDisrespect had when he signed with Twitch. There's the NDA when he left Twitch. And then there's the NDA when he won his lawsuit with Twitch and that was because of the Twitch whispers. Those are 3 layers of NDA. That means we will never get a real answer. Almost certainly. It's like a 95% chance, maybe 98% chance we will never get a yes or no question answer, right or wrong. We will never get this answer. And I want you guys to know that. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where on the spectrum of this issue you are at. It doesn't matter where I'm at. What matters is what an NDA is, why they suck. I hate NDAs, personally. I actually really, really believe that NDAs have done more harm than good, personally. But that's immaterial. They exist. This is the issue. And this is why we'll never get a real answer. NDA, that basketball. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Assuming it's a girl. What is this guy? We're assuming that because of what Cody said. Cody breached NDA because he's no longer covered under NDA, so he could release something more. I hope he doesn't, because we don't want to find out who this girl is. That would be just terrible for her. But he specifically says her. That's why we're running with that assumption, Dr. Wafers. That is why. That is why. Thing is, folks need to remember, we only need to know there's allegations, leave it to the investigators assigned to it. It has nothing to do with our opinions. Yeah, exactly. Our opinions, frankly, on this situation do not really matter. That is a very, very important and good point, Existential. Our opinions on this entire situation do not matter. Exactly. Oh, no worries, Dr. Wafers. That's what I'm answering. Is there any other questions, guys? I'm happy to answer any questions about this subject. And also, if you're watching this video, please do leave your questions in the comments below. I will happily answer every single comment levied. Any question levied. Keep respectful, obviously. I know people's, opinions will be inflamed. People could be pissed off that I'm not going to, state that he's unequivocally guilty without a shadow of a doubt. There is a shadow of a doubt. He could be innocent. And his supporters are probably going to be pissed off at me when I make this video, because they're going to say that, I should assume innocent until proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty would hold more water if his own company didn't drop him. This kind of shows that he at least has a gradation of guilt here. Like, this is brutal. Are we playing? We might be. In the end, it'll be in the court of public opinion now. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, court of public opinion, like, him running away is probably the best decision he could possibly make. He should probably, like, whether he's innocent or guilty, like, if he was innocent, I don't think he would run away, personally. But if he has even a shred of gradation of guilt, running away is his personal best course of action. He's doing this to get away from the situation as long as possible. I don't think we'll be hearing back from Doc for months. Straight up for months. That's my guess on the situation. Yeah, exactly. Public opinion acts less like a court, more like a jury. That's true. And that's why I want to discuss this. And also, like I said, most people do not know how NDAs work. And I know in great detail how NDAs work. And that is why I wanted to give all of the possibilities and all of the issues of the NDAs and why we're not getting the answers. And why you guys, as viewers, as, any level of opinion on this matter, you guys should understand why we will never get these answers. And, I mean, in some ways, we really shouldn't. Because if we do get these answers, that means the victim is going to be held under, terrible scrutiny, and possibly her life could be ruined if we get any real answers. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? I'm trying to scroll up to see if there's any questions. Dark, you said NDA would make it harder. What part? If you tell me what part, I will happily answer. There are ways to do it without disclosing the information of a victim? Yes, but are we entitled to that information, Traveling Gamer? There is no doubt in my mind that they've already reached out to law enforcement when the situation happened years ago. And that is who needed to know. And those people, the actual, whether, I mean, obviously criminal charges were not, if criminal charges were brought forward, we would have the information because it would be in a public court of law. And, it would have, redactions and everything like that, but it would be there. It was not held up to legal scrutiny. I don't think we will get the information. I think we should get an answer, but heavily redacted to protect the victim. Okay, keep in mind, guys. If it's too redacted, it'll have the same effect as no answer at all. Say we get a fragment of the whisper, and it doesn't even have anything she says, and it's just him talking about meeting up. Then we will have, the same people who think he did it or think he's likely to have done it will say, well, this is proof that he did it. All the people that are his defenders will say that he didn't do it because we don't see the other side. If there is information that shows her whisper, but extremely heavily redacted, the exact same thing will happen. No matter what is released, everyone will have the same exact response. I don't think it'll help. I don't think it'll help anyone's response here. Isn't Twitch mandated to report a crime, especially involving a minor? We don't know that they didn't. The chances that they reported it is very high, Dark. That's what I'm saying. But it didn't hold up to legal scrutiny. Basically, DrDisrespect is a very rich guy. He employs very powerful lawyers. His powerful lawyers would be able to poke holes in any story. And if there is a breach of the Twitch whispers, which there was, then that muddies the water for any criminal allegation. And as a result, they report it, but nothing happened. That's the point, Dark. The chances that they didn't report it to law enforcement is extremely, extremely unlikely. I would say it's like basically none. They almost certainly did. And I say almost certainly because there's never 100% in a situation like this. But the chance is extremely high that they did. And the police were like, hey, we can't charge. There's no way we could charge. And if they could, even if they could charge, and DrDisrespect reaches out to the victim and settles out of court with the victim for an undisclosed amount or whatever, and the victim is okay with that settlement, and they have every right to be, because that could be, a lot of times the only justice a victim can possibly get, which really fucking sucks. Guess what? The world is really bad towards victims. It is horrific towards victims. But as a result of that settlement, Dark, which seems, let's just say, very likely in my brain, then that would make any legal proceeding against him in a court of law gone. That would completely negate that. That's the thing. Also, in the timeline I saw, Pyrolux says, if it's true, she's no longer a minor when this came to light. Yeah, basically that's an entire thing where people are we don't know any of this for any length of truth or anything like that, but what people are throwing out as a possibility is she said she was a minor, DrDisrespect, messaged her, and then it turned out she's not actually a minor. That would further muddy the legal waters to the point that, it's fucking really scummy. DrDisrespect should be held in, terrible regard for doing so, but that destroys any legal proceeding against him. Exactly true, Pyrolux. Exactly true. Can we verify if the Twitch Whisper system was actually a private messaging system? I mean, it doesn't exist anymore. That's the thing. Like, what do you mean? We can, in the abstract, we can. Because the only reason DrDisrespect would make any inroad in a settlement with Twitch is if they breached something private, which was this. The only way he would win the lawsuit that he won, which is a private civil lawsuit, in order to get his buyout from Twitch, with the breach of contract, essentially, is what he was stating, is because of private information being leaked. So that would be the whispers in this case. This should be a TOS from that era. I mean, if you find one, sure, share it. I don't. You have to also remember that the TOS that we have access to is not the agreement that he has with Twitch. The agreement that he has with Twitch is completely different. That is the thing. That is the thing. That is the thing we'll never find out. Person that leaked the info is a former employee. Twitch didn't violate anything technically. Yes, exactly. That's how he found out about this, because Cody Connors is no longer working at Twitch for at least, I think, was it 2 years? And he's no longer under the NDA. Yeah, exactly, Existential. I don't need to know nothing. I mean, I'm not covering for you, Ryan. I'm covering for everyone else. And also, like, Ryan, basically, the reason I wanted to cover this, like I said, is that out of everyone who's covered this information, from Charlanazard to Asmongold to Mogul Mail to Moist Critical to Dexerto to, actual, journalistic sources and everything, no one has really talked about NDAs. And no one has talked about why we are getting no information due to NDAs. And that is why I'm focusing on this. Expiring. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Traveling Gamer. There is a possibility we could get more information due to other people either breaching NDAs or those NDAs running out. That is a possibility, but it's a fucking crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. There's new information from anybody. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there it is. Putting it out there, Ryan says, if it turns out he's not a perv, yeah. Type faster. What's going to happen? I mean, if it turns out he was not a perv, then he would be parading that because he wants to get his money. And he would love to sue Twitch again. And he would love to sue Midnight Society, which fired him due to this. It would be a big payday for him if this was not true completely. Absolutely. His reputation is going to be fucked, but he would get a payday. Absolutely. So, yeah. 100%. Like, he would want this to be fought out. But the thing is he's leaving the situation entirely. And, it's not a good look for him. It's not a good look for him. That much we can say for sure. But yeah, any other questions? Last Chance Saloon before we hop into something much more fun with Vidya game. You don't know why streamers do themselves? Dude, people are fucking disgusting. Men and women do this to minors all the time. What do you mean, Dark? Why did Harvey Weinstein, who is a multi-million dollar, he basically was in the 0.01% of people in the world in terms of, money and everything like that. Why did he abuse his position of power against, dozens and dozens of women? Same reason. He's an asshole. Like, it's just a fucking terrible person. Terrible people do terrible shit all the time. They always have. Sometimes saying nothing says a lot more than what you want. Yeah, exactly. People can know they're about to cop and continue with the shit. Yeah, exactly. True, Pyrolux. Yeah. I wouldn't say it happens more often with streamers. I would say that it just happens more often than people think. Like, dude, keep in mind, guys, like, male victims, for example, and I think a lot of people forget that there are male victims of sexual assault and sexual abuse. This happens in a larger percentage than people think. And it's because, what is it? Like 95% of male victims never report it at all. and they don't even realize it's happening to them. It's brought to light more with streamers than general public. Yeah, that's because streamers are more public people. Yeah. Younger audience. Yeah, both are true, Ryan. Both are true. That's absolutely true. Parasocialism has been a problem with streamers for time immemorial, and they utilize that in various different ways. For most times, it's for the vast majority of people, it's fine. It's like you're creating community and so on and so forth. But it can easily go off the rails. And also, you have to remember, guys, in order to be a streamer or a content creator, you have to have a degree of narcissism. Absolutely. It is essentially a requirement for a person to be a some level of narcissist, to state mentally and publicly that what I have is willing and worth it to be shown in a public forum, that I am good enough to create a community. That is a level of narcissism. So the fact that there are more narcissistic people in streaming than there are in other avenues of media and other avenues of, walks of life, it kind of just comes with the territory. You're going to find more narcissists in streaming for that reason, because we all have to be narcissists at some level. And most streamers are not bad narcissists. Like, it's not bad to be a small level of narcissism, guys. Like, having a level of arrogance and having a level of, like, what I think is important, and I want to share that with the world, is a level of arrogance. It's not a bad thing. Not always. But, when it goes past the threshold, that's when narcissism can get bad. Did not show him in a republic, he will start to beat off. Yes, exactly. That's true. Can you explain these levels? Yeah. But I won't. But yeah. Show him in a mirror public. Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, look. It is what it is. Ego serves an important function in the human psyche. Exactly, Quiet. Exactly. Like I said, it's not a bad thing. But you will see it in higher levels with streamers and content creators in general. Ex-friend to turn out to be a perv. Got a warning from his ISP that there's ooh. Yeah, there you go, Pyrolux. Yeah. A lot of people don't think they'll ever get caught. Yeah, that is true, Pyrolux. A lot of people, I mean, this is from every walk of life. They never think they'll get caught. Every criminal thinks they're the main character, and that's why they can get away with what they're doing. Whether they're completely fucking off basis or not. That's otherwise people wouldn't do criminal shit. If people knew that they were going to get caught, they would never do it. But yeah. All right, I think that's pretty much everything, right, guys? Yeah, there you go. There you go, Kwai. Jesus, Pyrolux. Yeah. I mean, also, like I said, some people are just fucked in the head. They either can't or refuse to stop, or they think it'll work out in the end, or, they think they're in the Matrix or some wacky shit like that. You don't know what people think these days. That's the issue. Like, there's a lot of reasons for bad behavior.